Hello Animorphs fans and welcome back to AniLysis. Today we're looking at the first Skrit ship. This one arrives in the Andalite Chronicles, and shortly thereafter the second Skrit ship appears, but we're concentrating on the first one today. What was its purpose? What was it doing? Why is it relevant to the story? And what does it look like? Who's on board? Well, Ghost of Eslam's done this picture, and the thing you'll notice about the Skrit ships and the Skrit as a race, they're basically the Greys. Do you know what I'm talking about with the Greys? They're the stereotypical alien that you get in like really old sci-fi media. You know, they're just like, they look like grey people with the big bug eyes, and they just come down in flying saucers to somewhere in rural America and mutilate cows and abduct people. Those are effectively what they call Greys, at least as far as I know. But I'm pretty sure the Skrit are heavily based on the Greys, and so the Skrit ships are suitably Grey-like. So let's look at the context behind the first Skrit ship, where it first appears. The AniLysis, Elfangor's dome ship, the one he's on at the start, arrives in our solar system, and that's where we first see the Skrit ship. I searched the hologram of space for a clue. Then I saw it. A tiny, bright point that was moving against the background of the ringed planet. Was it a Yeerk ship?
I think we have a Skrit radar,
the captain said. Yes, Captain, the TO agreed. He's accelerating. He'll be able to go to zero space in 20 minutes. Sensors show he came from the third planet in this system.
On screen,
Captain Phaon said. Suddenly, the hologram shifted, and we were looking at a small planet with a single large moon. The planet was blue, with swirls of white and land masses that were brown and green. The Skrit have no real allegiance to either the Yeerks or the AniLysis, but they are known by the AniLysis to do deals with the Yeerks. So it's in the dome ship's best interest to intercept this Skrit ship and to see what's on board. And so they send out 2 intercepts, and then they decide that they're going to have to board this vessel, and that's where Elfangor comes in.
Launch fighters,
the captain said.
Oh, and those Skrit ships are so cramped inside, we'd better send along a couple of our people who can move around in there. Now, who do we have that's small enough to fit inside a Skrit freighter?
Suddenly, I realised that everyone on the battle bridge was looking at me and Arbron, and then I realised we were both younger and smaller than anyone else, and that's when I almost did faint. The captain was going to send us into battle. The AniLysis are probably about similar height to humans. That's the sort of gist we get from the series. And so they probably got similar, well, probably bigger ceilings actually, because they like their space a lot more. But it's a lot smaller in there, bit cramped, so they have to send in the Arists, these smaller AniLysis. Probably is just an excuse to give them some training, some experience in training, because they're Skrit and they're not going to put up much of a fight. But they are going to send in the Arists. And this is where we get a description of the Skrit ship. So where we got the description for these from, I'm assuming Ghost of Eslam used the description that I sent him. And yeah, let's have a look. Arbron brought the Skrit radar up on the holographic imager. It was very different than any Andalite ship. The Skrit ship was round, with tapered sides. It looked like a fat disc. You could hardly even see where the engines were, and the Skrit had blinking, coloured lights all around it. I guessed they find that attractive or something. "Intercept in place," came the report from the 2 intercept ships. They had gone into a dangerous maximum burn to get well out in front of the Skrit and cut off escape. Now we just had to sneak up calmly behind them. The intercept vessels have come in front of the Skrit freighter, or raider, they call it both things, raider and freighter, which doesn't seem to make too much sense to me, but maybe it's just, these Skrit ships are probably just the standard and they're just good for all purposes. So it could be a raider, could be a freighter, could be anything. I mean, technically it could be both, because freighter just means it carries goods, and I suppose, yeah, it does make sense. So let's just stop rambling at him. It's capable of going into zero space. Obviously, the Skrit are advanced enough that this ship can proceed to, what is it they call it in Star Wars? Hyperspace. It's basically that, isn't it? A bit different. Why am I rambling so much? Is it because I'm trying to fill out time in this video? It might be. Stop it, Adam. The intercepts cut off the forward propulsion of this Skrit ship, so it can't just go straight into zero space somehow, even though we're operating in 4 dimensions if you include time. Oh, how clever of me. Oh, probably wrong, actually. Obviously, the Skrit don't know how to go up and down, so they're just like, oh, they block the path. Oh, what can we do? And yeah, that's where we get the description. Eventually, I get to that point. So, a fat disc. You can barely see where the engines are. Basically, they are describing the stereotypical flying saucer. And so that's what we have here. 2 examples. I'm imagining this is the first ship. So this is the one we're concentrating on. And it's got engines you can barely see. So that's this bit here. It's got like one of those. And there's probably one at the back and one at the other side as well, emitting this blue flame. Because it does have a blue flame. They also describe coloured lights. Which is why in the background of my setup I've got everything flashing different colours. And why we've got these blue lights, well, coloured lights on the sides. They're very colourful, the Skrit, and their ships... Maybe it's because they are grey, basically. These aliens are grey, so they think we need to just compensate with as much colour as possible. So just put a load of flashing colours on the side of the ship. So that's what we've gone for here. What happens next?
What the... Sir, there is a second Skrit ship out here. It was hidden from sensors by the rings of this planet. Repeat, there is a second Skrit raider. Prince Briar rapped his orders. Okay, you 2 on intercept, go after the new target. Everyone else with me.
I looked at Arbron. We both nodded. It was getting more complicated now. We could actually have a fight. Suddenly, a bright blue engine flame shot from the bottom of the nearest Skrit.
He's running,
the prince said. The Skrit ship hauled, and we hauled after him. Then, to my total shock, the Skrit fired his weapons.
Hey, look out!
Arbron yelled. A thin beam of greenish light lanced toward the prince's fighter. It missed.
Whoa, the prince laughed. That woke me up. Return fire, but only if you can hit the engine pods underneath. Repeat, aim only for the engines. There may be innocent creatures on that ship.
The shredder beam sliced through space and burned away a section of the Skrit engines. The blue engine flame died instantly. There we get a description of the blue flames emitting from an engine at the back. So, let's just say it was correct on the picture. But yeah, the AniLysis managed to hit these engines, which are barely visible because they're so small on this disc thing. And that basically wipes out the engines, brings the ship to a standstill. There is still a second Skrit ship, but that's gone off in a different direction. That's not what we're interested in, nor is it what Elfangor and Arbron are interested in. It's just this first ship. So they have disabled it, and now they venture on board. I pulled our fighter up alongside the damaged Skrit ship and turned on the tractor beam to hold the 2 ships tightly together. The Skrit decided to make it easy. I guess they figured they'd made us mad enough. Skrit are no match for Andalite power. I married my hatch to the Skrit hatch and popped it open. I equalised gravities and marched as boldly as I could into the captured ship, with Arbron just behind me. There was smoke in the other ship, and there seemed to be storage boxes strewn here and there. 2 clumsy Skrit lumbered past, kicking through the debris. The ceiling pressed low, and I had to duck my head or risk bruising my stalk eyes. A pair of cocooned Skrit were more or less glued to a corner of the ceiling. One looked about ready to hatch a Nar. There were 3 Nar that I could see. The Nar captain was pressed back against his command console. He looked scared, but not of me. He was glaring angrily at a bizarre creature that had a Skrit weapon, a modified Yerk Dracon beam, pointed at the Nar captain. As we mentioned, small ceiling, so even a young Andalite like Elfangor has to duck his stalk eyes, so we're probably talking about probably just less than 6 feet, I'd say, which is not very big at all. But it's probably because these Skrit are probably smaller creatures. But they go in, it's all cramped, there's stuff strewn everywhere, so obviously hitting the engine has basically just bonked everything about the place, and stuff's gone everywhere. Obviously not securing ship properly. But then again, they don't strike me as very regimented. Very drilled. But the NAR captain is in the bridge, so they can't be far from the bridge when they enter the ship. I don't imagine these are that big for a start. So we never really get any size scale of how big these things are, but I can't imagine it's that big. There is a hatch somewhere on the vessel that Elfangor attaches his hatch to, walks in, and then very soonish he sees the captain. So it's almost like he walks into a room. There are these cocoons for the Skrit, and then there's another room, and that's the bridge. So yeah, it seems very small. But yeah, there's these Skrit walking about the place, clearing up debris. There's these cocoons up here, and then there's a crew on the bridge of Na, the metamorphosed forms of the Skrit. We also find Lauren and Chapman, and of course, what with these being basically greys, they have been abducted. I'm in charge here, I said firmly. Drop the weapon. Nope, I don't think so, horseboy. I'm tired of being kidnapped and dragged off by giant cockroaches and little green men from Mars. So we've now fulfilled the stereotype for these grey aliens in their flying saucers abducting random humans and taking them away from the planet. Remember, this was coming from Earth, travelling past Saturn at the time, so relatively it hasn't got very far. So they probably haven't been on there for long. A little bit. A few hours maybe. But anyway, Elfangor and Arbron deal with this situation. The Skrit now put up no fight, and Arbron downloads the computer files from the Skritnar ship, basically steals their data. Arbron had gone over to the nearest Skritnar control panel. He was downloading a copy of all the computer files as Prince Briar had ordered. It's standard procedure whenever you board an alien craft. We'd left the Skritnar to try to figure out how to fix their ship. That was their problem. Hey, no one told them to shoot at us, right? The AniLysis leave this first Skritnar ship basically stranded in space. They can obviously fix their ship, because I don't think they'd have just left them stranded without any hope of getting anywhere, so they'd broken the ship enough so that the Skritnar would have to spend some time fixing it, and they were basically out of the fight for a prolonged period of time. And that's the last we see of the first Skritnar ship. The AniLysis have taken the humans that were abducted. They've taken the computer data to see what these Skritnar have been up to. And to be fair to the AniLysis, yeah, they left them stranded for a little bit, but they did fire at them first. And that is one thing I did neglect to mention, that these ships are capable of a dogfight, it seems. They have these green, Lila please, these green lasers that they shoot out of the ship, but we're not given any details on what the power is or what it's made of or anything like that. It's just a green projectile in some laser type form. Isn't that right, Lila? Thank you. But there is a consequence to all this, and it's a very important one, because the AniLysis, Arbron mostly, go through all this computer data. Because remember that there was that second Skritnar ship, so they're interested in where this going to, what are they doing, and they find something rather frightening. Arbron turned only his stalk eyes toward me. This is from the Skritnar ship, from the computer download. It was encrypted, but I broke the code. I've been going through the ship's log, a bunch of stupid stuff mostly, junk, but yesterday I found this. I've been trying to figure it out because, see, there's no way these sensor readers can be right, but now I think I've got it. I know what it is. And then it appeared. It simply appeared on the computer screen. It was perfectly spherical, a simple white sphere. The time matrix, Arbron said. I thought it was just a myth. The second Skritnar ship, I yelled, suddenly realising the truth. The Skritnar dug it up. They have it aboard the second ship, the one that escaped into zero space. Arbron and I tore that Skritnar computer download apart, and before we translated into zero space we had a destination in mind. One of the last places in the universe that any sensible Andalite would ever want to go. The Taxon homeworld. So from this first Skritnar ship we get a couple of important things. Firstly, the humans, and secondly, this vital information. Because the second Skritnar ship, the other one that Arbron and Elfangor didn't chase, that got away to zero space, was carrying the time matrix from Earth, which is very strange, unless they went to Earth with the time matrix and then went off somewhere else. That's the topic for another video. Lila, you're leaving fur everywhere. Are you molting or something? Jesus. Why are you so annoying? Typical woman. God dear. Ah. That means that the two Skrit ship were clearly working in tandem to some degree, because else why would this first Skrit ship have information for the second Skrit ship's location? The second Skrit ship obviously just abandoned this one. So far as we know, never went back to save them, even though they were stranded in our solar system, temporarily at least. But yeah, they never struck me as the most loyal type, so they'd just think, well, screw them, we're just going to go there anyway. They are probably going to go trade with the Yerks. Meanwhile, the first Skrit ship, yeah, that's the last of its use now. It gives the AniLysis the destination that they need to go to chase the second ship, which holds the time matrix. So yeah, overall, quite an important piece to the puzzle, even though it was only there briefly. It held the humans and held the location for the eventual destination of the time matrix. So thank you very much, first Skrit ship. I can't wait to talk about the second Skrit ship eventually, probably about 50 odd videos from now, I guess, arbitrarily. I'm trying to drink my coffee, cat. Jesus, what is wrong with you? So to summarise, the Skrit freighter, raider, probably all-purpose thing, is basically your standard flying saucer from all the old Hollywood sci-fis. Like the 40s and 50s black and white films. You know those little toy ones that they have sort of wiggling around at the top of the screen? Yeah, it's basically one of them, with loads of wiggly waggly colours going on it. And it's quite a cramped little place. And they just go around abducting things. There's a captain on board and 2 other crew, I believe it said. And then a bunch of Skrit. So the capacity is small. They're clearly not much of a fight. They are capable of fighting. Who they fight, I don't know, because they're clearly not very good if the AniLysis can beat them, and we know that the AniLysis themselves are pretty incompetent. But that's that. That's not much else we can say, really. We will eventually talk about the second Skrit ship, so if there's any information I missed about the first one, I'll probably just chuck it in that video, but I think I've covered everything, honestly. And we will talk about, like, the captain separately. The Skrit as a race we'll talk about separately, so we will cover everything. But for now, that is a big thank you to the first Skrit ship, and let's have a look at what happens next time on AniLysis. I'm hoping for another small one, because I do really need to build a backlog of videos again, because it's actually becoming quite stressful. Thinking, right, I've got another video out today, and I haven't got anything scheduled, and I'm trying to build that up. So let's hope for a few small ones. What have we got? Spin the wheel game. Let's see what we have in store for next time. Please be small, please be small. Cross the old fingers. What are we gonna get for the next AniLysis? AniLysis force fields. Okay. I don't know how big that one's going to be, actually. It'll probably require going through all the books, look for... maybe not all of them. We'll see. We'll see what that's like. So, AniLysis force fields is the next one, and that is quite vague, I understand, but yeah, we'll see what happens for the next AniLysis. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you for the next one, somewhere else in the Animorphs universe. Cheerio.